Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Big Red Leads. I am Big Red, getting you to the black in life and in business, especially business. But today, this is a PSA. To those of you who watch this video and who do have children, especially teenagers, those of you who are grown, I will say, let's say over 30, at least over 30. I'm well over 40, but let's say over 30. Those of you who don't have children, understand this. Our community is being stripped from us. It's being torn apart if it has not already been torn apart. I was having a conversation with my son, my oldest son, who's 21 now. It was about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. He said the craziest thing to me at the time. He said, "Dad, Facebook is dead." He doesn't use Facebook. Now, years go by, a couple of years go by. He's like, "Dad, we don't use Facebook." He's like, "Old people use Facebook." Now, what he's simply getting at is there's a disconnect. Kids are more likely to see a situation escalate to the point where two teenagers are fighting, and one of them ends up being seriously hurt, or one ends up going to prison or jail. Now, how do we engage in this? Adults, I'm talking to the grown men and women out here. Stop this. Shh. Stop it. Jump in, de-escalate, conflict resolution. Use some of these things that hopefully you've learned to keep these kids from fighting in the streets. Because here's the difference between my generation and the generation beneath me, and the one that's a little bit younger. These kids aren't playing anymore. These kids are killing each other. They're killing each other. Now understand, this is not for I'm not advocating for us to start just beating on kids. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm simply speaking to there are kids who they have social media. They grew up with it. Okay? They grew up with it. How many videos have you seen, or a little 1 year old playing with a tablet and knows how to work it better than the parent? They grew up with this stuff. Now, with that being said, yes, they have social media, but they're not social. So, a lot of times it comes off as being awkward, out of place, loners, things of that nature. Now, when I was coming up, and when a lot of the people who know me, friends, family, understand we did something that is considered today to be totally bad, bullying and whatnot. You know, we called it bagging, we called it capping, joning, the dozens. Depending on where you grew up in the country, you called it something. And all that was verbal warplay. How quick are you with the rebuttals? Your mama jokes, things like that. Like we had, we'd hit them with so many, like boom, 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 boom. Now, what that did was it tested your intelligence as well as your vocabulary, and how you were with your mouthpiece as far as spitting it out, getting it out there. Now, today, that's looked at as bullying. Bullying leads to this. Miss me with that. Today, you stop bullying? Most of it anyway. Not all of it, because your kids still have to go to school. Most of it, turn off your phone. But the reality is we can't be with our children 24/7. At the same time, these kids are more quick to go pick up a weapon than to fight with their hands. Now, as a young person, understand where I'm coming from. I'm coming from the idea of I got picked on when I was very young, between the ages of 10 to about 12 years old. There's this one kid in the neighborhood who used to pick on me relentlessly. We're talking almost every single day. Now, mind you, I was an athlete, but I was more of a nerd at that time than an athlete. But the kids in the neighborhood were 3, 4, 5 years older than me. So you're talking 16, 17, 18 year olds in the neighborhood. Now, until one day, one of the greatest things my mother ever did, she locked the door and would not let me get in the house. This kid was bullying me in front of my house. Now, my house was right in front of in the neighborhood where we were at. There had to be at least 30, 40 people out there that day. She locked the door and literally said, "I'm not letting you in until you fight him." Now, something else that what we called in when my age group, we called it a pecking order. Either you got respect or it was taken. These kids don't do that today. World star. Young boys smacking and punching, like full fist punching girls. Girls fighting each other to the point where police or security have to break it up. Where are the adults? Oh. It's painful to watch. At the same time, I'm one of those men who, when I see two young people getting into it, I step in. All I'm asking is all the adults out there, step in. De-escalate the situation. Trust me, your words mean more to them than you will ever know in a moment like that. Be a mentor. When you see a young person, speak to them. When's the last time you as an adult had a conversation with a 15 or 16-year-old that was not your child? Believe me when I say this, that one conversation means more than, it's priceless. It truly is priceless. Help these kids. These are our kids, whether you have children or not. The world's a beautiful place, but we can't let it go. We can't let it go to hell. We can't let it go to hell in the handbasket. We can't. Never say can't, but we cannot. Just a few weeks ago, like I said, young man in the St. Louis area killed his girlfriend's mother because they got into an argument. He was 16 years old. Stuff like that has to stop. Where were the men at in his life? Where was his mother? What I'm getting at today is speak to the kids, engage with the kids. Hell, get on their social media apps. Yeah, you might look corny, you might look crazy, but trust me, engage with them. It helps. My nieces and nephew, I talk to all the time about their teenage problems. A lot of the stuff that they look at as problems today, we would consider laughable, but it's not funny. It's not fun to them. We talk about mental health a lot. Trust me, some of the situations that I was in, I'm so thankful that I grew and I had a well-rounded enough family to support me in everything in every endeavor that I wanted to engage in, and gave me the confidence, instilled in me to understand that, I got hands now. I didn't get my hands until I was like 16, after getting tormented, my preteen years. I wish somebody would today. But what I'm simply getting at with us today as adults, we have to look. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well, and y'all know the rest of the words. My grown people do. So, if nothing else, reach out to some kids today. You got to be weird, but just engage in a simple conversation. How are you doing today, young lady? How are you doing today, young man? These kids have social media, but they're not social. Help a child out today. Help a family out today. Speak to these kids. Love you all. Hope this message helps. Big Red Leads. Like, definitely share. If you have children, or if you know kids, you know teenagers, preteens, watch this video with them. Trust me, conflict resolution is a real thing and must be learned at a very young age. Put your kids in boxing, karate. Trust me, a kid who is well trained and knows how to fight is less likely to fight. They get discipline. It's a beautiful thing. Like I said, this is Big Red Leads. Peace out, my friends. Love you all. Talk soon.